All right, let's talk about a trade rumor that is absolutely sending shockwaves through the NFL. Seriously, this involves one of the league's most dominant players, and it could completely change the future for two massive franchises, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys. And look, this isn't just some simple player swap. No way. This is a high-stakes chess match. On one side, you've got a team that looks like it's ready to just tear it all down and start from scratch. And on the other, a team that is desperate to win and win right now, before their Super Bowl window slams shut for good. Today, here on NFL Nexus, we are going to break down every single angle of this thing. This is a real deep dive.
And that's really the question at the heart of it all, isn't it? Is one guy, one superstar, worth mortgaging your entire future for? For the Raiders, trading Maxx Crosby means they are fully committing to a long-term rebuild. They're hoping that a bunch of future draft picks can't someday add up to the all-pro they're giving up. But for the Cowboys, it's about their shot at a ring right now. It's about fixing a defense that was just broken and making the most of their star quarterback's prime years. I'm telling you, the ripple effects from this decision, whichever way they go, are going to be felt for years. So let's get into it.
So, here's our game plan. First up, we're going to look at the man himself, Maxx Crosby, and figure out what makes him such a hot commodity. Then, we'll dive into why in the world the Raiders would even think about trading their best player. After that, we'll pivot to the Cowboys and the huge debate happening inside that building. We'll break down the nitty-gritty of the deal, the price tag, and what it all means for their championship hopes. And then, at the end, we're going to put the final decision right in your hands.
Okay, let's start with the guy at the center of it all. We're not talking about just some pretty good player here. We are talking about the literal heart and soul of the Las Vegas Raiders defense. And the word on the street from all the insiders is that teams are getting the feeling that the Raiders are, finally willing to listen to offers. For years, any call about Crosby got an immediate no. Now, that door seems to be creaking open, and that has put the entire league on high alert.
Just look at this resume. It's just pure dominance. 5 Pro Bowls since 2019. That tells you he's not a one-hit wonder. He is elite year in and year out. He's turning 29, so he's right in that sweet spot, his absolute physical prime. And it's not just about the Pro Bowls. He finished 4th in the Defensive Player of the Year voting last year, and 6th the year before that. That means everybody who knows football, the writers, the coaches, they all see him as one of the most impactful defensive players in the game, period. And this is a guy who was the 106th pick, a certified superstar. So yeah, it makes sense why half the league is probably calling about him.
So that brings us to the Raiders side of things. And this is where it gets really fascinating. Because on the surface, it sounds insane, right? Why would you trade your best player, your captain, a guy who isn't even demanding a new contract? Usually these massive trades only happen when a player is holding out, basically forcing the team's hand. But that's not what's happening here. So what is going on? What's the master plan?
Well, the logic really boils down to this. The Raiders haven't made the playoffs in 4 straight years. They're stuck in neutral. They're not quite good enough to compete for a title, but they're not bad enough to get one of those top 3 draft picks. The front office is probably realizing that one single player, no matter how incredible he is, can't carry the whole team. So the thinking is, let's cash in our biggest chip, our most valuable asset, and use it to supercharge a full-on rebuild. It's got to be a tough pill to swallow for the fans, but from a pure strategy point of view, it's a pretty logical way to get a fresh start.
And this isn't some chaotic fire sale. There's a real blueprint here, one we've seen other teams use. Step 1, figure out who your most valuable piece is. For them, that's easily Maxx Crosby. Step 2, trade that piece for a mountain of high-end draft picks. We're talking multiple first-rounders. Think about it. That's the fuel for any successful rebuild. Step 3 would be to use those picks to build a new foundation. Maybe you even find your franchise quarterback of the future. And finally, Step 4, getting Crosby's big contract off the books gives you a ton of financial freedom down the road. It's a total reset. You're trading a sure thing for the potential of a much brighter future.
All right, now let's flip the coin and talk about the other team in this whole saga, the Dallas Cowboys. Because if the Raiders situation is about a calculated rebuild, the Cowboys situation is just pure internal conflict. This is a franchise standing at a massive crossroads, looking down 2 totally different paths. And it feels like the front office, the fans, everyone is completely torn on which way to go. This whole thing is way bigger than just one player for them.
So the argument for rebuilding in Dallas, it starts with a hard look at their record. Over their last 34 games, they are 14-19-1. They've missed the playoffs 2 seasons in a row. Come on, that is not the record of a team that's one piece away from a Super Bowl. That's the record of a team just treading water. And that's what fuels the argument that they need to hoard their draft picks, not trade them away for one expensive veteran.
But then you hear the win now crowd, and they have one
absolutely staggering number on their side, 30.1. That's how many points the Cowboys defense gave up per game last season, the most in the entire NFL. I mean, that's not just bad, that is historically terrible. You just can't win football games with a defense that bleeds points like that. So for them, the idea of plugging that hole with an instant, game-wrecking force like Maxx Crosby, yeah, that's incredibly tempting.
And that really brings us to the two warring factions inside the Cowboys front office. You've got the win now side. They see Dak Prescott playing at an elite level, and they feel like their window is open right this second. To them, Crosby is the missing piece, the guy who can instantly fix that defense and create a legendary pass rush duo with Quinn Williams. But then you have the rebuild camp. They just point to that 14-19-1 record and say, we're just not close enough. They believe giving up multiple first-round picks is just bad business, and that those picks are essential to build a complete roster for the long haul. It's a genuine, massive dilemma.
Okay, so we've got the why. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the nuts and bolts of the actual deal. What is the asking price? What's his contract situation? What kind of trades have happened in the past that are like this? This is where it all gets super complex, and honestly, it's where a team could either set themselves up for a Super Bowl or set their franchise back 5 years.
And this quote right here, this is pretty much the key to the entire negotiation. This is the line in the sand, at least the one they're drawing publicly. A source from the Cowboys basically tells Jane Slater, yeah, we're talking, but no way are we giving up 2 first-round picks. And there it is. The classic negotiation stare-down. Dallas is signaling they won't be held for ransom, and the Raiders are basically saying, that's the price for a superstar.
And that price is, well, it's sky high. The rumor is the Raiders are aiming for that Khalil Mack or Micah Parsons level of trade compensation. We're talking multiple first-rounders and maybe even a good player thrown in. Remember when the Raiders traded Mack to the Bears? They got 2 firsts, a third, and a 6th back. That's the gold standard. And why can they ask for so much? Because they can. With so many teams interested, they can just sit back and start a bidding war, forcing a team like Dallas to either meet the price or walk away empty-handed.
But here's the hidden value for whatever team gets him. It's his contract. He's locked up all the way through 2029, which is incredible long-term security. But the key number is his average annual value, basically what he makes per year. At $35.5 million, his deal is now only the 6th highest for his position. See, when he signed it, it was top of the market. But since then, other guys have gotten paid, and now his contract looks like a relative bargain. You're getting a top 3 player on what's barely a top 5 contract. That's a huge, huge advantage.
And hey, if you have any lingering doubts about his value on the field, just chew on this number, 69.5. That's how many sacks he has since he came into the league in 2019. That's 6th best in the entire NFL. But you know what? Sacks don't even tell the full story. The guy is always near the top of the league in pressures, QB hits, all of it. So what a team is paying for here is guaranteed elite production. This isn't a maybe, it's a sure thing. And that level of certainty, well, that's what cost you 2 first-round picks.
So, let's pull all these pieces together and really focus on the ultimate question for Dallas. This trade, it's not just about next season. It's a statement. It's a statement about their franchise quarterback and whether they truly believe they can win a Super Bowl right now. It's all about a window of opportunity, a window that might be closing a lot faster than anyone wants to admit.
And that's what creates this massive sense of urgency. I mean, look at Dak Prescott. He turns 33 this year, and he's still playing at an insane level. 3rd in the league in passing yards, 4th in touchdowns. He is, without a doubt, in his prime. But every GM has to ask that tough question, for how much longer? Yeah, you have guys like Tom Brady, but for most quarterbacks, that decline after age 33 can come fast and furious. The Cowboys really can't afford to waste another year of Dak playing like this. So the argument is, you owe it to your franchise QB to go all in while he's at the absolute peak of his game.
So this is it. This is the final math that Jerry Jones and the Cowboys front office are probably scribbling on a whiteboard right now. Is Maxx Crosby that one guy, that final piece, who can lift their league-worst defense and make them a real Super Bowl contender? Is the dream of having him and Quinn Williams on the same D-line, is that worth giving up your future for? And maybe the biggest question of them all, after 2 years of sitting at home during the playoffs, can they really afford not to make a huge, aggressive move like this?
Okay, we've gone through the player, the team's motivations, the price tag, and what's at stake. We've laid out all the arguments from every possible angle. So now, we're turning it over to the most important people in this whole equation. You guys, the fans.
So here we go. I'm putting you in the GM's chair. The Raiders are on the phone. They want 2 of your first-round picks for Maxx Crosby. You know your defense is a mess. You know your quarterback is in his prime. But you also know that's a king's ransom that could cripple your ability to build through the draft for years. What's the call? Do you pull the trigger?
I genuinely want to know what you think. Drop a comment below and tell us, deal or no deal? And explain why. It's your arguments and insights that make this community so awesome. And hey, if you like this breakdown, do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button for NFL Nexus and give this explainer a thumbs up. It really is the best way to support what we do here. And make sure you never miss our next deep dive.
And one last thing before we head out. Another great way to support the channel is to check out our new NFL-themed coloring books. They are perfect for kids, grandkids, or, hey, even for adults looking to just chill out. You can scan the QR code right there on the screen, or just use the link in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching and for all the support. We'll catch you on the next NFL Nexus.